Hey, coin collectors and history buffs. Welcome back to the Premium Coin Deals channel. If you're passionate about rare coins or simply intrigued by the unexpected treasures hiding in your spare change, you're in for a treat today. We're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins out there, the 1967 no-mint mark Monticello Jefferson nickel. You might be wondering, what makes this coin so special? And could it really be worth a fortune, potentially $1 million? Stick around to find out. First things first, let's talk about the basics of the 1967 Jefferson nickel. This is a standard nickel, a 5-cent coin that features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, Jefferson's home, on the reverse. The coin was struck by the United States Mint in 1967, and generally, you'd expect to see a mint mark on the reverse side of the coin to indicate where it was made. For most years, the mint mark can be found under the word Monticello, showing either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. However, something unique happened in 1967. If you have a 1967 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, then you're looking at a rare mistake, a no mint mark error coin. This error makes the coin incredibly rare and valuable. Now, you might be thinking, how did a coin like this end up without a mint mark? The answer isn't entirely clear, but it's believed that the 1967 no-mint mark nickels were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, but the mint mark was either accidentally omitted or simply not stamped. This error is unusual because Philadelphia is the one mint that typically doesn't include a mint mark on its coins. Coin collectors often call these mystery coins because, without a mint mark, they're incredibly difficult to trace, which adds to their mystery and allure. So, what makes the 1967 no-mint mark Monticello Jefferson nickel worth so much? First off, rarity is a key factor. As with most collectible coins, rarity directly correlates with value. Given that only a small number of these coins were mistakenly struck without a mint mark, they are incredibly rare in circulation today. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. You might have heard that some 1967 no-mint mark nickels have sold for hundreds of thousands, and in some cases, even over $1 million at auctions. That's because certain versions of these coins have been certified as near-perfect by grading companies, making them even more desirable to collectors and investors. For example, a graded MS-68, Mint State 68, can command a jaw-dropping price due to its near-flawless condition. Now, let's talk about how you can identify this rare coin. The first thing you'll notice, of course, is the lack of a mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. You'll also want to look closely at the coin's condition. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition are the ones that fetch the highest prices, especially if they're graded MS-67 or higher. A professional grading service, like PCGS or NGC, is the best way to determine the true value of your coin. These companies will evaluate the coin for its condition, luster, and overall quality. A coin that's been well preserved is the key to unlocking its potential worth. Let's talk about the $1 million market. In the past, certain 1967 no-mint mark Jefferson nickels have fetched incredible prices at prestigious auctions. While not every 1967 no-mint mark nickel is worth a fortune, the ones in mint condition with no wear and tear can soar to prices you'd never expect for a nickel. We're talking about coins valued at six figures, with some of the most prized specimens selling for over $1 million. So, what should you do if you find a 1967 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel? Well, first, don't spend it. Make sure to protect it by placing it in a coin holder or protective case. Then, consider sending it to a professional grading company for evaluation. If you discover that your coin is in near-perfect condition, you could be holding on to something truly valuable. Camera zooms in on a beautifully framed 1967 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel. The 1967 no-mint mark Monticello Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how something small and seemingly insignificant can turn into a true treasure. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, this coin represents an incredible opportunity to make a significant find. Who knows? That nickel you've been holding on to might just be worth more than you think. Scene fades out with music playing softly in the background. We're diving deep into one of the most intriguing coins out there, the 1987 D Mint mark Monticello Jefferson nickel, and exploring whether it's actually worth $1 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, let's find out the truth behind its value and what makes this seemingly ordinary coin so special. But before we start, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of our future coin tips and discoveries. All right, let's set the stage. The Jefferson nickel is a staple of American coinage, with its design first released in 1938. And since then, millions of these coins have circulated. But the 1987 D Monticello Jefferson nickel is a coin that's been catching the eye of collectors, especially due to its unique features. Now, most people think of a nickel as just 5 cents, nothing too special, right? But it's not the face value that makes this coin so interesting. It's the potential rarity and errors that might make it worth much more. First, let's talk about the basic coin. The 1987 D Monticello nickel has a depiction of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, and on the reverse, you'll find Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home. The D mint mark signifies that the coin was minted in Denver, Colorado. Simple enough, right? Now, you might be wondering, what's so special about the 1987 D mint mark coin? Well, the 1987 D coin, in general, isn't particularly rare. It was produced in large quantities, and millions of these coins were released into circulation. So, why is it even getting attention in the first place? Here's where it gets interesting. Like many other coins, certain errors or variations can make a particular coin much more valuable than what it initially appears. So, while a regular 1987 D Monticello nickel may only be worth a few cents, collectors are always on the lookout for specific errors. And these errors are what could potentially drive its value into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. There are several error types you want to keep an eye on with this particular coin. Let's break them down quickly. Die cracks and die chips. These are imperfections in the die used to strike the coins. When a die cracks or chips, it can create a distinctive mark on the coin. Some collectors really want coins with these features because they are unique and can make the coin stand out in a collection. Double dies. A double die is a fascinating error where the design is stamped twice. If you happen to find a 1987 D Monticello nickel with this kind of error, you could be holding something quite valuable. Double dies often bring in hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and visibility of the doubling off-center strikes. This happens when a coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process, and it results in an off-center design. While this is a rare occurrence, it can significantly boost the value of a coin, and an off-center 1987 D Monticello nickel could be worth quite a bit more than a standard version. Now, even if you don't find an error coin, there's one more factor that can drive up the value of any coin: its condition. When you're talking about rare coins, the term condition often refers to how well-preserved the coin is. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect, and the better the condition, the higher the value. Coins that are graded as mint state or proof-like are always going to be worth more. So, if you happen to find a 1987 D Monticello nickel in pristine condition, say, graded as MS65 or higher, it could fetch a decent amount of money in the market. But even in excellent condition, without a major error, it's still unlikely to reach the million-dollar mark. So, can a 1987 D Monticello Jefferson nickel actually be worth $1 million? The short answer is highly unlikely, at least for a typical coin in circulation. But here's the thing: rare coins with certain errors can fetch huge amounts, especially if they're graded highly. There are stories of coins being sold for astronomical amounts. And while the 1987 D Monticello nickel isn't necessarily one of those high-ticket coins, there's always the possibility that a rare error could land in the right hands and fetch a large sum. However, let's not get too carried away. We're not talking about every 1987 D Monticello nickel being worth a fortune. But if you happen to stumble upon a coin with the right error, in perfect condition, and it gets the right grade, who knows? It could be worth thousands of dollars, or maybe even more, depending on demand from collectors. To wrap it up, while the 1987 D Monticello Jefferson nickel might not be the golden ticket to $1 million payday, there are definitely rare variations and errors that could make it worth a pretty penny. It's a good idea to take a closer look at your change, inspect your coins for any potential errors, and see if you've got a hidden gem on your hands. If you ever come across one of these coins, make sure to get it professionally graded to determine its true value. And who knows? Maybe you'll be the lucky one to find $1 million nickel. We're diving into a coin that may not be on your radar, but could just be the key to a potential fortune: the 1988 D Mint Mark Monticello Jefferson nickel. You might think it's just a regular nickel, right? Well, You could be wrong. This small coin could have a much bigger value than you ever imagined. Now, before we get started, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more amazing coin finds. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one. Let's talk about why the 1988 Monticello nickel is so valuable and why, in some cases, it might even be worth millions of dollars. The 1988 Monticello Jefferson nickel is a part of the U.S. Mint's ongoing series featuring President Thomas Jefferson, which started in 1938. This specific coin was struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D Mint mark. What makes this coin stand out? Well, the 1988 nickel features two main sides on the obverse. We have a profile of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag, who was awarded the commission to design the coin back in 1938. The reverse features Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, which has been an iconic symbol for the series for decades. The design itself is very classic, representing American history and architecture. It's a piece of the past, but it could also be a ticket to a rare treasure. So what makes the 1988 Monticello Jefferson nickel so special? The truth is, most of these coins are, in fact, still pretty common. After all, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of these nickels in 1988 alone. However, some specific versions of this coin are extremely rare, and they're the ones you want to look out for. The key to this coin's value lies in certain variations and errors that were struck during the production process. As we all know, errors in minting can make a coin far more valuable than its face value. A small mistake during the minting process can turn a run-of-the-mill coin into something incredibly sought after by collectors. For example, a 1988 nickel that was struck with an unusual error, like a double die, off-center strike, or even a planchet error, could drastically increase its worth. But these errors are so rare that they can be quite difficult to find. That's where the real value lies. There are certain 1988 nickels that have been sold for astronomical prices at auctions. In fact, there have been verified sales of these coins reaching up to $1 million or more. Yes, you heard that right. A nickel that's worth millions. But how can that be? Well, the answer lies in both rarity and condition. For example, coins that are in mint condition, particularly those that have been graded as MS 67 or higher, are extremely rare and can fetch sky-high prices at auction. Even coins with slight imperfections, like a rare die crack or a double die error, could command impressive sums. Let's talk about one such coin. There was an auction where a 1988 Jefferson nickel with a major die error was sold for over $1 million. It had a noticeable doubling in the minting process on both the obverse and reverse sides, making it a unique find for any serious numismatist. When you come across a nickel like that, you're no longer holding just a regular coin, you're holding a piece of U.S. history that's truly one of a kind. Now, let's talk about how you can spot a valuable 1988 Monticello nickel. While most of these coins aren't worth more than 5 cents, a few specific signs can indicate that you might be holding a treasure. The first thing you want to look for is the condition. Coins graded as MS 67 or higher are rare and desirable. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Look for coins with little to no wear, crisp details, and a sharp strike. These errors are among the most sought after. A double die error occurs when the die strikes the coin multiple times, creating a blurry or doubled image. You'll see this most clearly in the lettering, particularly in the word Liberty or the date. Sometimes, coins get struck off-center, meaning that the design is not properly aligned on the coin. These are incredibly rare and can increase the coin's value significantly. Look closely for any cracks or breaks on the surface of the coin, especially around the edges. This could be a sign that the coin was part of a broken die, which makes it even more valuable. Occasionally, a coin is struck on a damaged or improperly prepared planchet, leading to missing details or an irregular shape. These coins can be incredibly rare, making them highly collectible. So, you found a 1988 Monticello nickel that might be worth a lot of money. What now? Where can you sell it? Here are a few options. Websites like eBay are a great place to sell coins to a wide audience. Just make sure to get your coin professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC before listing it for sale. You can always bring your coin to a local dealer or coin shop. Be sure to shop around to get the best price, as different dealers might offer different valuations. If you believe your coin is particularly valuable, you might want to consider submitting it to a numismatic auction house like Heritage Auctions. These specialists deal with high-value coins and can help you get the best price for your find. To wrap up, The 1988 Monticello Jefferson nickel is far more than just a simple coin. While the majority of these nickels are worth only 5 cents, certain rare versions with minting errors can reach staggering prices, with some even worth millions of dollars. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who's stumbled upon one of these rare coins, understanding the value of the 1988 Monticello nickel can be a game-changer for your collection. Remember, condition is key, and the rarer the error, the higher the price you could command. So keep your eyes peeled, check your pocket change, and who knows, you might just have the next million-dollar nickel in your hands. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any 1988 nickels, drop a comment below telling us about your find. We're diving into something pretty exciting, the 1990 Monticello Jefferson nickel. You might have a nickel sitting in your coin jar, thinking it's just another ordinary coin. But what if I told you that this seemingly average nickel could actually be worth a fortune? That's right, folks. In some rare cases, this coin could be worth millions of dollars. Stay tuned as we explore why the 1990 Monticello Jefferson nickel is attracting the attention of serious collectors and investors around the world. Now, let's start with the basics. The 1990 Jefferson nickel was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, and it features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, along with the iconic Monticello building on the reverse. The coin was part of a regular series, with millions produced for circulation. But wait, before you rush off and check your pocket change. There's more to this coin than meets the EYE.IT. All comes down to the specific condition of the coin and some incredibly rare errors that can turn an otherwise ordinary nickel into a valuable treasure. Most of the 1990 Jefferson nickels are worth their face value, just 5 cents. But in some cases, certain specimens have been known to fetch tens of thousands and even millions of dollars. So, what's going on here? How could this seemingly common coin be worth so much? First off, let's talk about coin grading. The value of any coin is heavily influenced by its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. The better the condition, the higher the potential value. For the 1990 Jefferson nickel, a coin in perfect condition, known as mint state, can be worth significantly more than one that's worn down from years of circulation. And when we're talking about higher grades, like MS65 or MS66, the price starts to climb. Now, let's get to the really interesting part, the errors. You see, in the world of coin collecting, rare minting errors can cause a coin to skyrocket in value. While the 1990 Jefferson nickel is generally produced with few issues, there have been some rare varieties that have emerged over the years. These include double die errors, where the die used to strike the coin was improperly aligned, resulting in a doubled image. Double die errors are a huge deal in the world of numismatics. If you happen to find a 1990 Jefferson nickel with a noticeable double die error, it could be worth thousands, depending on its condition and the severity of the error. But here's where things get really exciting. Some collectors and experts have speculated that certain 1990 Jefferson nickels, especially those in near-perfect condition and exhibiting rare minting mistakes, could be worth up to $1 million or more. Yes, you heard that right, $1 million. Imagine finding one of these rare nickels tucked away in your change jar or in a box of coins you've inherited. That's the kind of discovery that could make you a millionaire. It might sound unbelievable, but it's happened before with other coins, and the same thing could happen with the 1990 Jefferson nickel. Of course, for a nickel to reach those kinds of values, it needs to be professionally graded and authenticated. The process involves taking the coin to a reputable grading service, like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. These organizations will assess the coin's condition, authenticity, and any unique features, like minting errors, before determining its value. Once graded, the coin can be sold at auctions, through dealers, or even privately. Some 1990 Jefferson nickels with rare errors have already been sold for astronomical amounts, and it's only a matter of time before another one could make headlines. But what's the catch? How can you tell if your 1990 nickel is worth a fortune or just another nickel? First, check for those double die errors. Look closely at the date and Jefferson's profile. If you see any noticeable doubling, you might be looking at something special. Next, inspect the overall condition. Is the coin shiny and well-preserved, or is it heavily worn? Coins with high-grade conditions will always be worth more. And remember, while finding $1 million nickel is rare, it's not impossible. Coin collectors and enthusiasts continue to keep their eyes peeled for these incredible finds. So, before you let that 1990 P. Jefferson nickel slip away, take a moment to inspect it closely. You might just have a hidden treasure on your hands that could be worth a fortune. In the world of coins, every detail matters, and sometimes, the most unassuming pieces can hold incredible value. That's it for today's video. If you found this information helpful and are now ready to start checking your change, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for more coin collecting tips and discoveries. And remember, keep hunting for hidden treasures. Who knows what you might find? We're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins out there, the 1993 P Mint Mark Monticello Jefferson nickel. And believe it or not, this little coin could be worth a fortune, even up to $1 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1 million. So make sure to stick around as we break down everything you need to know about this extraordinary coin and why it could potentially put you in the Millionaires Club. Let's start by looking at this iconic coin. The 1993 Jefferson nickel was minted in Philadelphia, and the P Mint mark is a key feature that sets it apart. The reverse of this coin features the famous Monticello building, designed by Thomas Jefferson himself, which is why it's commonly known as the Monticello nickel. On the obverse, we have the bust of President Thomas Jefferson, surrounded by the words Liberty and In God We Trust, with the year 1993 inscribed beneath. But here's the twist: this coin, like many others, may look ordinary to the untrained eye. But there's a rare error that can make this nickel worth far more than its face value. So what makes the 1993 P Monticello nickel so special? Here's the deal. While most 1993 P nickels are worth just 5 cents, some of them have an extremely rare and valuable minting error. We're talking about an off-center strike or a die rotation error. These errors are incredibly hard to find, and when they do appear, they can cause the coin's value to skyrocket into the thousands or even millions. Now, a typical 1993 P Monticello Jefferson nickel should have the design aligned properly. But in some rare instances, the coin was struck off-center, which means part of the design gets cut off, or you could find a die rotation error where the reverse side is rotated at an odd angle compared to the obverse. Coins with these errors are extremely sought after by collectors, and here's the kicker: they can fetch a price much higher than the average coin of their kind. To give you a sense of how valuable these can get, a misstruck 1993 P Jefferson nickel with the right error could be sold for as much as $1 million or more at auction. I know it sounds unbelievable, but it's true. There have been documented cases where rare error coins like this have reached these kinds of jaw-dropping values. But the chances of finding one are very slim, making it a holy grail for coin collectors. Just look at this example. A rare 1993 P Jefferson nickel with a unique error was sold for over $1 million at a prestigious auction. And it wasn't just any auction. It was a bidding war among collectors who recognized the immense value of this one-of-a-kind piece. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can I tell if my 1993 P Jefferson nickel is worth a fortune? The good news is, it's not impossible to spot. You'll want to closely examine the coin for any unusual features like an off-center strike, doubling on the text, or any alignment issues between the obverse and reverse. If you're not sure, it's always a good idea to get your coin professionally graded by a certified numismatist or take it to a local coin dealer. Grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to inspect the finer details. Look for anything out of the ordinary. If you find something that could indicate a mint error, make sure to get an expert opinion. And remember, the better the condition of the coin, the more it's worth. Coins with fewer scratches and less wear are always more valuable. So, is your 1993 P Monticello Jefferson nickel worth $1 million? Maybe. But remember, there are only a few known examples out there that have reached these kinds of prices. If you do have one of these rare error coins, you could be sitting on a small fortune, so don't just throw it in your pocket change jar. If you ever find yourself with a coin like this, the best advice I can give you is, get it appraised. You never know when you might have stumbled across a hidden gem. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible coin stories and valuable insights into the world of numismatics. Who knows? Your next treasure might just be sitting in your pocket right now. We're diving into one of the most mysterious and rare coins in modern American numismatics, the 1996 P Mint Mark Jefferson nickel, also known as the Monticello nickel. You might have heard rumors or even seen claims that this coin is worth a small fortune, millions of dollars, in fact. But what's the real story? Well, stick around because we're going to explore its history, why it's so valuable, and whether it really could be worth that much. Let's get started. First off, let's take a quick look at this nickel. The 1996 P. Jefferson nickel features the iconic image of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag, with the reverse showcasing his famous Monticello plantation home. The coin itself is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel and was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which is where the P Mint mark comes from. Now, you're probably wondering, why is the 1996 P nickel so special? Is it just another regular coin in circulation? The short answer is, no, it's not just a regular coin. In fact, there's something unique about the 1996 P Monticello nickel that has caught the attention of coin collectors and investors alike. Although most of the 1996 P Jefferson nickels are worth just 5 cents, a certain few have a fascinating story. You see, in 1996, there was an error during the coin minting process that caused a very small number of nickels to be struck incorrectly. This is often referred to as a mule error. Now, before you get too excited, let's clear something up. A mule coin is a mistake where the coin is produced with mismatched dies, which could lead to a design error. In the case of the 1996 P Jefferson nickel, some of these coins were mistakenly struck using the reverse die of a different denomination, such as the 1996 P Roosevelt dime, which had a very similar diameter. The result? A very rare and highly valuable variety of the 1996 P Jefferson nickel. To the untrained eye, these coins might look normal, but when examined under magnification, you'll notice subtle differences. The misalignment in the design creates a distinct look, and that's what makes these coins so sought after. So, why are these mule error 1996 P nickels worth so much? Well, the answer lies in their rarity and the demand among collectors. These coins are exceptionally rare, so rare, in fact, that they've become some of the most valuable coins from the 1990s. Over the past few years, a few of these coins have appeared at major auctions, and they've fetched astronomical prices. In fact, some of these rare 1996 P nickels have been sold for up to $1 million or more, depending on their condition and how well they're certified. That's right. What was once a humble 5-cent coin can now be worth more than $1 million. Now, that doesn't mean every 1996 P Monticello nickel is worth $1 million, of course. The value really depends on whether you have one of these rare mule error coins, and even then, the condition of the coin plays a huge role. Coins in mint state with no wear and tear, deep details, and perfect centering will always command a premium price. To properly assess the value, a coin is typically graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher grades like MS 65, MS 66, and MS 67 being highly coveted by collectors. A coin that's graded MS 67 or higher could easily fetch a 6-figure sum. And if it's a true mule error, then we're talking about the possibility of reaching 7 figures. So, if you're out there searching through your coin jar or going through your change, how can you tell if you have one of these valuable 1996 P error nickels? Well, first of all, you'll need to carefully inspect the coin, looking for signs of misstriking, like a mismatch between the obverse and reverse design. But, of course, it's not always easy to spot an error without professional help. If you think you might have one of these rare coins, it's a good idea to get it professionally graded by a certified coin grading service, such as PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate the coin and assign it a grade, which can significantly impact its value on the market. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a 1996 P Monticello nickel with a mule error, you could be sitting on a gold mine. But keep in mind, not every 1996 P nickel is worth a fortune. It's those rare, error-struck coins that will bring in the big bucks. And if you happen to have one of these, it's not just a valuable piece of history. It's also a potential investment that could grow in value over time. So what do you think? Do you have a hidden treasure in your coin collection? Let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin like this, or if you're planning to hunt for one. And as always, if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coin collecting, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. We're going to dive into a coin that may just be hiding in your pocket change right now, the 2000 P Monticello Jefferson nickel. You might have heard that this coin can be worth $1 million, and in this video, we'll break down why, how to spot one, and what makes it so special. So make sure you stick around because you won't want to miss this. You might be thinking, a nickel worth $1 million? How can that be possible? Well, it's all about rare features and certain unique circumstances. Let's talk about what makes the 2000 P. Monticello Jefferson nickel a potentially high-value collector's item, and whether it's really worth that $1 million price tag. First things first, let's get familiar with the coin itself. The Monticello Jefferson nickel was first minted in 1938, and over the years, the design has seen a few changes. The 2000 P variety refers to the Philadelphia mint mark on the coin, with the year 2000 being significant for its own reasons. The obverse front of the coin features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States. On the reverse, you'll see a depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia, which is why this nickel gets its name. So far, nothing seems too extraordinary, right? Well, here's where things get interesting. Now, you might wonder, what's so special about this particular 2000 P coin? The key lies in a minting error that occurred. Some of these nickels were produced with a misaligned die. This means that certain coins were struck with the design slightly off-center, which is a significant defect. But here's the thing. Misaligned die errors are relatively rare, and collectors go absolutely crazy for them. In fact, error coins are often worth much more than a regular, error-free coin of the same kind. When you add that to the 2000 P. Monticello Jefferson nickel, a coin already in circulation, well, now we're talking about something special. So, just how many of these error coins were produced? Well, the exact number is unknown, and that's part of the allure. The rarity of this coin is one of the factors that contributes to its skyrocketing value. As with many rare items, the fewer there are, the more valuable they become. And that's what's driving the market for these particular nickels. Okay, so now we get to the million-dollar question. How much is a 2000 P. Monticello Jefferson nickel actually worth? Well, here's where things get really interesting. While most of the 2000 P nickels are worth only 5 cents, just the standard face value, a small percentage of these coins, with the minting errors, have been known to sell for thousands of dollars for pristine, error-free specimens. Prices can range between $50 and $500 depending on their condition and any additional rarity factors. But, and this is where the excitement comes in, if you have an extremely rare version of this coin, especially with a prominent misaligned die error, it could potentially fetch a six-figure price tag, or in some cases, even more. And yes, in some rare cases. The coin has even been rumored to fetch over $1 million at auction. Now, just to give you an idea of how valuable these coins can be, let's look at some past auction results. A couple of these rare 2000 P. Monticello Jefferson nickels have been known to sell for $10,000 or more, and that's for just one coin. In one of the most notable sales, a particularly rare version was sold for nearly $200,000, which caused a big stir in the numismatic world. So, while $1 million might seem far-fetched, it's important to remember that the market for rare coins is highly unpredictable, and it all depends on factors like condition, the specific error, and how desperate collectors are to complete their sets. Now that we know these coins are valuable, how do you spot one of these rare misaligned die errors? Let me give you a few tips. The most obvious feature of a misaligned die error is that the design will appear shifted or off-center. You'll notice that the image of Jefferson and Monticello will not be aligned perfectly within the coin's borders. If the coin is off-center, the edge might look uneven or slightly distorted. Coins in better condition, especially those that look like they just came out of the mint, tend to fetch higher prices. So check for any wear or tear. Nickels with visible signs of damage might not be worth as much. If you think you might have one of these rare nickels, here's how you can cash in on it. First, get the coin graded by a professional. Coin grading is crucial because it helps potential buyers understand the quality of your coin. Once it's graded, you can either sell it privately or take it to a coin auction, where collectors are more likely to pay top dollar for your rare item. So, to wrap it all up, the 2000 P. Monticello Jefferson nickel can, in rare instances, be worth a lot more than just 5 cents. If you've got one with a minting error, especially a misaligned die error, you could be sitting on a potential gold mine. While it's unlikely that you'll find $1 million coin in your pocket change, there are certainly instances where these nickels have sold for impressive amounts. So, always check your coins carefully. You never know when you might stumble across a rare treasure. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. And as always, if you have any thoughts or questions, drop them in the comments below. I love hearing from you. we're diving deep into a special piece of American history, the 2002 D Mint Mark Monticello Jefferson nickel. You might be wondering, why is this coin worth millions of dollars? Well, grab a seat and let's unravel the mystery behind this incredible piece of numismatic value. Let's get started. Cut to the host standing with a collection of coins displayed on a table. In 2002, the U.S. Mint produced a variety of nickels as part of the Westward Journey nickel series, which celebrated the Louisiana Purchase and the Lewis and Clark expedition. One of the most fascinating coins from this series is the Jefferson nickel with the Monticello reverse design. But there's one specific variant of this coin that has caught the attention of collectors and investors alike: the 2002 D Mint Mark Monticello Jefferson nickel. At first glance, this coin looks like any other nickel, but as you'll soon see, there's more than meets the eye. Let's first take a look at its features and how it was minted. Like most nickels, the 2002 D Monticello Jefferson nickel has a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, and it weighs about 5 grams. On the obverse, we have a portrait of President Thomas Jefferson, designed by the famed sculptor Felix Schlag. But it's the reverse side that sets this coin apart. The Monticello building, a symbol of Jefferson's legacy, is depicted in all its architectural glory. Show close-up of Monticello, highlighting intricate details on the reverse side of the coin. What makes this coin truly unique is the subtle difference that can send its value skyrocketing. The 2002 D Mint Mark Monticello nickel contains a special and rare error that can make it worth far more than face value. Here's where things get interesting. Some of these 2002 D Monticello Jefferson nickels were struck with a unique error that immediately caught the attention of eagle-eyed collectors. Specifically, a number of coins were minted with a doubling of the Monticello building on the reverse side. This is known as the double die error. Cut to detailed images of the double die error on the Monticello reverse. As you can see here, the double die error makes the Monticello building appear as if it's been struck twice, giving it a slightly blurry, doubled appearance. This rare flaw happened during the minting process, likely when the die was misaligned. Now, imagine finding one of these error coins in your pocket change. While they may not be visible to the untrained eye, they're incredibly valuable to those who know what to look for. So, how do you spot this gem in your collection? Well, here's the trick. First, take a good look at the reverse side of the coin, specifically the Monticello building. If you notice that the details of the building seem slightly doubled or blurry, you might just have one of these rare error coins. Cut to a demonstration where the host uses a magnifying glass to examine a 2002 D Monticello nickel. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the structure of the building. If you notice that the columns, windows, or roof appears slightly misaligned or doubled, congratulations, you may have discovered a very rare and valuable coin. Now let's talk about the money. How much can you actually get for this coin? Well, the market value of a 2002 D Monticello nickel can vary depending on its condition and whether it has the double die error. A typical 2002 D nickel without the error is worth face value, 5 cents. But once you factor in that rare double die error, the value can increase exponentially. Cut to a series of auction listings and sales figures. Some of these error coins have sold for over $1,000 in auction. Yes, you heard that right. A simple nickel worth only 5 cents can go for thousands if it has the right error. In exceptional cases, when a coin is in near-perfect condition and has the double die error, the price could even reach into the millions. So why does this coin go for such high prices? The answer lies in rarity, demand, and collector interest. The U.S. Mint only produced a small number of these error coins, and many of them have been lost or damaged over the years. Those that remain in good condition are highly sought after by collectors, making them rare, valuable, and desirable. Cut to images of collectors at an auction or coin convention bidding on rare coins. Collectors always look for rare, historically significant coins, and the 2002 D Monticello Jefferson nickel is a perfect example. Its unique error, combined with the public's fascination with rare finds, has contributed to its skyrocketing value in recent years. Now, you may be wondering how you can get your hands on one of these valuable nickels, or if you already have one, how you can sell it for top dollar. Well, the first step is always checking your change. While it's unlikely you'll find one in your pocket change, there are still collectors out there who are hunting for this rare coin. Cut to footage of a coin collector going through a jar of coins, inspecting each one carefully. If you're looking to sell your 2002D Monticello nickel, you can turn to online auction sites, specialized coin dealers, or even visit local coin shows. Make sure you get it authenticated before selling, as a professional evaluation will ensure you're getting the true market value. In the world of coin collecting, the 2002D Monticello Jefferson nickel stands as a testament to how small details can make a big difference. With its unique double die error, this seemingly ordinary nickel could be worth millions, making it one of the most exciting and valuable finds in modern numismatics. Who knows? You could be holding on to a small fortune without even knowing it. Thanks for watching, and as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more exciting coin hunting tips and tricks. Keep collecting, and who knows what treasure you'll discover next. Fade out to music as the screen shows the host's logo and links to other videos on the channel. 2022 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark from Philadelphia. Yes, you heard that right. A 5-cent coin that has some collectors buzzing and even calling it a potential million-dollar treasure. So what is going on with this nickel? Why are people suddenly paying attention to a coin that was minted in the billions just a couple years ago? And is it really possible for one of these to be worth $1 million? Well, buckle up, because we are going into full detail. First off, let's start with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. The obverse of the coin features the bust of Thomas Jefferson, and the reverse shows his iconic home Monticello. Over the decades, the design has seen some changes and improvements, especially in 2006 when the U.S. Mint introduced the forward-facing Jefferson portrait. Now, fast forward to 2022. Over 834 million of these nickels were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. That's a lot of coins. So by default, you might think none of them can possibly be worth big money, but that's not always the case, and here's why. When billions of coins are struck at high speed, there is bound to be a few that slip through quality control with rare and dramatic minting errors, and when those errors are significant enough, or paired with pristine condition, they can drive collectors wild. So what kind of errors are we talking about here? Some 2022 P Jefferson nickels have been found with double dies. These are coins where parts of the design appear doubled, most often in the words like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," or even the date itself. If you spot strong doubling with the naked eye, that's a good sign. There are also off-center strikes, which are coins that were not properly aligned during minting, so you might see a crescent of blank space where the design is missing. Even more dramatic are die breaks or cut errors, where a chunk of metal is raised on the surface due to a cracked die. Then there are the so-called struck-through errors, where foreign objects like grease or debris got between the die and the blank during minting, leaving a ghostly impression or missing elements. Now, these errors on a 2022 P nickel by themselves can make a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on how rare and dramatic they are. But combine that with a top-grade uncirculated coin graded by PCGS or NGC, and now we are talking big numbers. So how does a coin that says 5 cents on it suddenly become worth $1 million? Well, it all comes down to the holy trinity of coin collecting: rarity, condition, and demand. Let's imagine a 2022 P Jefferson nickel with a major mint error, say a double die obverse combined with an off-center strike, and that coin grades MS68 or higher, which is extremely rare for modern nickels. Now add in a label from a top-tier grading service verifying the error and the grade, and you've got a potential showpiece for a serious collector or investor. There are precedents to rare coins like the 1955 double die Lincoln Cent or the 2004 Wisconsin Extra Leaf Quarter have sold for tens of thousands of dollars or more. In a hot collectibles market where rarity and condition drive competition to insane levels, a coin like a perfect 2022 error nickel could be valued way above what anyone would expect. Does that mean your pocket change holds $1 million coin? But could you find one worth hundreds or even thousands? Absolutely. The key is to look closely. Use a magnifier or a jeweler's loupe check for doubling. Check for weird shapes, raised areas, or missing parts of the design. If you find something unusual, do your research or take it to a coin dealer or get it graded. It's amazing what you can find when you start paying attention. So is the 2022 P Jefferson nickel worth $1 million? Not every one of them, but a perfect storm of error, rarity, and top condition could make a single coin incredibly valuable, and that's why collectors are checking their change right now, because that hidden treasure could be out there waiting to be discovered.